Hello chaps, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, tell us a little bit about this brand spanking new film.
Well, it's brand spanking new. That's what it's all about. It's straight out of the box here at Cannes, and one of the most notorious eccentric Englishmen is brought back to life in this film. Aleister Crowley, who died in 1947, was a hedonist. He was a black magician. He was a philosopher. He was a mountaineer. He was bisexual. He was a big drug taker. He was the original rock star. He was the first rock star, really, ever. He influenced Timothy Leary, Aldous Huxley, Jimmy Page.
Jimmy
Kenneth
Page bought
Ango.
his house.
Bought his house in Burlesque in Scotland, yeah. Didn't live there very much. Crowley used it for conjuring weird spirits and evil spirits and demons. The locals still don't go anywhere near it. Yeah, Pagey bought it and lived in it for a while. Lennon, popular with Lennon. Lennon insisted on Crowley being on the front cover of Sgt. Pepper. That was his idea. So he's in kind of good company here, you know.
And what's your own, like, for both of you, what's your own personal interest in Aleister? Because it's, you know, it's a kind of a dark subject matter, isn't it?
Well, he was. Bruce introduced me to him, and then when I started reading his stuff, I mean, I was interested in what the film has as a base. Is the film's called Chemical Wedding, and chemical being science, and wedding being spiritual. So it was this. It was originally called The Chemical Wedding of Science and Magic, a wedding of science and magic. And Crowley, very interestingly, when I started to read his stuff, was not only interested in weird occult stuff and spiritual stuff. He brought yoga to England. He lived in India. He lived in China. He lived in Mexico. He understood the ancient religions of those countries. But also, he was fascinated by quantum physics. He wrote a lot about his how quantum physics is the most interesting side of mysticism at the moment, you know. And this is like way back. So here we've got a film about, you know, we're writing a film about the mixture of chemistry and wedding spiritualism, and here we have a man who actually embodies all that. Not only that, he is an extremely gross character.
Yes, he does get up to a few gross things. Yes, he's hedonism. I mean, tantric sex. He was into tantric sex.
What exactly is, for the likes of pure young me, what exactly is tantric sex?
You really don't want to know. Ask Sting.
Alright, I will, next time I see Sting. Yeah, is that tantric? What he's into? Like going for 8 hours or?
I think it's probably just boring, but I mean, you know, the tantric sex, at its heart, it's actually an offshoot of yoga. And it's the idea that the ancients had, that there's something very special about bodily fluids, and they were imbued with, seeing as what happened was you put these two things together and you got a spiritual creature, surely there must be some essence in all of it that's inside of us. And they also had, you know, spiritual centers which corresponded to chakras of yoga and things like that. So tantric sex at its sort of highest level aims to achieve, through controlled sex and delaying orgasm, all this kind of stuff, union with God.
Okay, have you ever tried it, chaps?
No, I'm always a bit too impatient.
I'll try everything once.
Absolutely. And how did you get here?
What?
Today, to Cannes, how did you chaps arrive?
That's a very philosophical question.
Yeah, well, we can start from the very
We
beginning.
all don't know how we got here, really. But just this afternoon, we got here on the Iron Maiden aeroplane, the Boeing 757, parked just over the hill at
Which
Nice.
Bruce drove.
Yeah,
Or flew.
You drove it.
I drove. Yeah, I'm a bus driver. We even wear the same little shirts and all the rest of it. You know, I could do National Express in another life.
I also heard you're a master swordsman.
Oh God, I wouldn't describe myself as being a master swordsman, but I used to wave my sword around. Yes, indeed.
Waved your sword around
Yes.
on the odd occasion.
Yes. Not like Sting's though. He waves his around for 8 hours, and mine's just like 5-minute bouts.
Oh, blimey, okay. And as far as Aleister Crowley goes, has he come back from the dead to spend any time with you on your film?
Oh, absolutely.
The Curse of Crowley.
Oh, Simon. Often. I mean, Simon was so good. Simon Callow, who plays Aleister Crowley, who actually, we didn't have to work to get him. He beat a path to our door, having read the script and gone, I want to do this movie.
An intimidating, asthmatic, bisexual character, right up his alley.
Well, you know what, he was going to do a film about Crowley himself 10 years ago.
Perfect.
And so he knew a lot about it, read the script and went, wow, this is great. Of course, because we had such a problem getting the budget for the film and things like that, we couldn't set it, period. It was a big problem because Crowley died in 1947.
Absolutely.
So at least part of the story came from the fact that we have to bring him back in the year 2000. And you'll see why we have to bring him back in the year 2000 in the actual film later. But it gives us a timeline of 3 days, just like Jesus. We bring him back. He's like Jesus, but better.
Really? That's an interesting take on it.
Oh, well, you'll see a lot of religious... I mean, the thing about Chemical Wedding is that the original treatise was written in 1642, and it was said that it could be interpreted in 20 different levels. And we've interpreted the film, there's probably about 4 different levels that you could take it on. Sometimes it's comic, sometimes it's serious, there's occult information in it, and down below there's a sort of hidden agenda which we can't really talk about it, but those who understand will understand the hidden agenda in the bottom of the film. But you can take anything at any different level. We have in the film, for instance, he casts a spell. Now, spells on somebody is usually somebody with a doll sticking pins in them. Mm-hmm. What we do is we have him masturbate while he's being flogged.
Oh, don't give it away.
Oh no, this is brilliant. Please continue.
We have him masturbating while he's being flogged onto a piece of runic paper and then sending it to the girl by fax.
This is the first transmission of semen by fax.
And which is rather strange, weird and wonderful and quite funny, but it is not as stupid as the putting pins in dolls, because in fact semen, when I looked back into ancient Egypt, semen is how the world originates. You see, in our religion, Christian religion, they say, how did the world create? Oh, well, God created it. But then they don't say how God was created. In the ancient Egyptian religions, God was created by masturbation.
Seriously?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
Atom gave rise. Well, this is what we don't know. They don't say atom was created by masturbation, and then by masturbation he created the 2 next gods. So it's not such a... I mean, it may seem very funny and silly what we've written. Also, that when in the ancient Celtic goddess, the original goddesses, Sheila, Nag Sheila, the Celtic god, was shown with her legs apart doing a chasm of creation. You see, and they were the original gods.
We don't show the chasm of creation.
We nearly do.
We nearly do. The girl we got to show the chasm of creation didn't want to go mountaineering. So we felt with it, okay, because you're so good looking and terrific at doing everything else, you can get it. We had lots of porn stars who were very willing to show the chasm of creation, but they couldn't act.
Tell me. One last question. How on earth do you go about filming the sexual shenanigans in good taste on a set?
It's not in good taste.
It's not in good taste.
It is straight down there, on the line. It's there. And I mean, my point is that people are naked when they're naked. I mean, I don't want to be titillating. This film isn't titillating. You see everything. You see what, the things that are going on, because, and again, carved in the temples in Egypt, there's a man masturbating into a dish with a lady, and what do the Christians come along? They come and knock off his penis because it's offensive. Well, that was like Sheila Nagog, the ancient goddess who gave rise to birth. When they found out that men had a part to play and that semen brought life, they worshipped it. It was part of the rite.
I'm sure there'll be a few biblical scholars that may be very offended by one or two of the biblical passages that we dig up. For example, Christ's homosexual experience in Gethsemane, which is alluded to heavily during the film.
In the book, it's totally expanded and totally explained of why Jesus was involved in maybe tantric sex, or certainly certain strange activities that were going on by sections that were cut out of the Bible. But the remnants are still there, like the bit we quote in the Bible.
So think in brief, it's funny, it's gross, and think sort of With Nell and I meets The Wicker Man.
And Harry Potter for adults.
Or Da Vinci Code, but good.